You don't need to stay awake for this story. You don't need to focus or remember. Just let your body settle, your breath soften, and your thoughts drift. Like the wings of a quiet bird gliding through a starlit sky. Tonight, we fly far from the known world, past temples and cities, through forests and ages, and truths too old to speak aloud. This is the story of a being unlike any other, a bird, a sage, a witness to time itself. His name is Kaak Bhushundi, a crow who remembers everything, a devotee of Lord Rama who has seen the story of the Ramayana unfold again and again across countless ages. Some say he has lived through every yuga. Some say he was once like you or me, and that his wings were given by fate. This is his tale. Let it lull you. Let it carry you. Let it lead you into sleep. Long ago, before this time, before this age, there lived a sage. His name is not remembered, for names like waves are lost after enough time has passed. But what is remembered is that he was proud. Proud of his penance, proud of his wisdom, proud of how many lifetimes he had spent meditating, learning, collecting knowledge like stones in a sacred river. The sage believed that knowledge was everything, that rituals and scriptures and debates could lead him to the highest truth, but he despised devotion. Bhakti? He once scoffed. Foolish emotion for the unlearned. God is found in silence, in thought, not in love. He would pass temples with a raised chin. He would look down on those who wept with joy at the name of Rama. He thought himself above such simplicity. One day he entered the ashram of a gentle sage, one who sang Rama's name with every breath. Calm, the ashram was quiet, filled with the scent of sandalwood and slow chants. But the proud sage grew angry.
"What foolishness is this?" he said. "You sit and sing instead of study? What do you hope to gain from this mindless repetition?"
The gentle sage simply smiled. "I hope to gain his grace," he said, "for Rama's name is the bridge across the ocean of suffering." The proud sage laughed, loud and sharp, and he mocked the very idea. But something shifted. A hush fell over the trees. The birds stopped, and the air grew still. In the distance, the name Rama echoed softly, like thunder inside a prayer. At that moment, a divine curse came upon him, not from the gentle sage, but from his own arrogance. It is said that those who insult devotion, who deny the power of love over knowledge, are doomed to wander until they understand. And so he was cursed, to be born again and again, in forms that would humble him. He was born as a worm, a frog, a dog, a fly, a snake. Each life he remembered. Each life he suffered. And in each life he saw devotees of Rama, simple people, poor people, farmers and weavers, calling out to the Lord with such joy that he began to wonder, what is this thing they feel that all my knowledge never gave me? Finally, in one life, after many hundreds, he was born as a humble man in a small village near a sacred grove. There he heard stories of Rama, not as a god of thunder or logic, but as a prince, a son, a husband, a being of perfect kindness. And something in the former sage broke open. A tear fell, then another, and he whispered, Rama. The first time he had ever said the name, not as a scholar, but as someone in love. The curse lifted, but not entirely. He was reborn one final time, as a crow, black-feathered, sharp-eyed, ordinary, and yet filled with divine vision. For in that moment, he was granted the greatest gift. He would remember every life, every telling of the Ramayana, every yuga, every birth of Rama, every war with Ravana, every tear of Sita. Solemn, he would see it all, and he would retell it forever. This crow became known as Kaak Bhushundi, the eternal witness, the skyborn devotee. Not high above, but close to the earth, where stories live, and where love is the only truth worth remembering. There are many beings in the universe who are powerful, who are wise, or who are divine, but there are few who remember. Kaak Bhushundi is one of them. After taking the form of a crow, he did not become a wanderer, or a beggar, or a lost soul flying from branch to branch. He became a storyteller. Not just any storyteller, but one who had seen the truth with his own eyes, one who had watched the epic unfold, not just once, but across lifetimes. It is said that Kaak Bhushundi has witnessed the life of Lord Rama in every kappa, in every cycle of creation and destruction. Each time the Ramayana begins again. He watches. He sees Dasharatha's tears, Sita's smile, Lakshmana's anger, Hanuman's leap, Ravana's pride. He sees the forests, the exile, the golden deer, the burning Lanka, and the return. And he remembers. Kaak Bhushundi is not bound by time. While gods change forms and kings rise and fall, firmly he remains. He perches on a quiet branch, somewhere in a sacred land, and tells the story again. Sometimes he tells it to a wanderer, sometimes to the wind. But one of the most beautiful moments was when he told it to Garuda, the mighty eagle of Lord Vishnu, a creature of speed and strength who had grown restless with questions. Why does the Lord take birth as a man? Garuda had wondered. Why suffer pain? Why not destroy evil with one thought? So Kaak Bhushundi, the humble crow, told him a tale, not with thunder, not with power, but with peace and love in every word. He began to describe Rama's journey. Garuda, who had flown over oceans and storms, now sat still, listening to a crow. And as the story unfolded, realizing, Garuda began to understand that it is not might that makes God beautiful. It is compassion. It is kindness. It is love. That the Lord becomes human, not to show his strength, but to teach us how to live, how to walk with truth, how to endure pain, and how to rise again with grace. When the story ended, humbly Garuda bowed his great wings and thanked the little crow. From that day forward, even the gods would pause when Kaak Bhushundi began to speak. For there are few beings in the universe who are powerful, who are wise, but only one who remembers everything. And so Garuda listened, not with pride, but with patience. The questions in his heart were many, but Kaak Bhushundi had only one answer. A story. Not just any story. The Ramayana. And beneath the night sky, serene with stars above and silence below, the little crow began to speak again. The night was still. The moon glowed soft and pale, like a pearl resting on the world's eyelids. Garuda, the mighty eagle, folded his wings beside a quiet branch, and Kaak Bhushundi, perched calmly, eyes half closed, began to speak. "Let me tell you," he said, "of a story older than memory, yet always new. The story of Rama." And then, in a voice gentle as river wind, he told it again. He spoke of Ayodhya, a city as golden as sunrise, of King Dasharta, a father whose joy turned to sorrow when duty asked him to send his beloved son away. He told of Rama, calm as the ocean, strong but soft-spoken, a prince who smiled even as he walked into exile, simply because it was the right thing to do. Alongside him walked Sita, full of grace, and Lakshmana, loyal as breath. They wandered the forests, lived beneath trees, and found joy in simplicity. But darkness came. A golden deer appeared, and with it a trap. Sita was taken. The forest echoed with Rama's silence, not rage, but quiet resolve. The journey to find her led him to friends, the monkey king Sugriva, the mighty Hanuman, who soared over oceans and whispered Rama's name across distant lands. Lanka burned, not from anger, but from the fire of love. And when at last Rama stood before Ravana, there was no hatred in his heart, only purpose. The battle ended, the war was won. But the true story was never about arrows and kings. It was about a man who never lost his kindness, a man who could have ruled the world, but chose to rule himself instead. And when Rama returned to Ayodhya, excited, the city rejoiced. Lamps were lit, songs were sung, but Rama remained humble. He ruled not as a conqueror, but as a servant. For the divine Kaak Bhushundi said, is not someone who demands to be worshipped, but one who teaches you how to live with grace. Garuda listened. And for a long time, he said nothing. For what can even a god-bird say when truth has just brushed past like a breeze? He looked at the crow beside him, small, silent, ancient, and bowed. "You have seen what I could not," he said, "and now I see it too." Kaak Bhushundi simply nodded, and the wind rustled gently in the trees. The stars above were listening. And now the story rests. Like a bird folding its wings, like the sun slipping behind the hills, it does not end. It simply becomes quiet. Kaak Bhushundi still sits upon that ancient branch, somewhere beyond time, telling his tale to those who are ready to listen. And tonight, he told it to you. A reminder that wisdom isn't always loud, and truth doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes, it's the soft voice of a crow, speaking under starlight. Thank you for listening. Let the story drift with your breath. Let sleep come as gently as a falling feather. Good night.
If you like such content, consider subscribing to the channel, like and share the video. Oh, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notifications about the videos. Until next time.